Empowering You is intended to provide you with information about complementary practices that may enhance your personal wellness journey. Some of these practices have been shown through clinical studies to be effective, others have not. It is entirely up to you to use this information to make the best choices for you as an individual based on your beliefs and healthcare needs. You are encouraged to consult with your primary care physician before engaging in or practicing any complementary services. Hello, and welcome to this edition of Empowering You. I'm Lori Walker, and today we have Penelope Hanson. She likes to be called Penny. I'm very excited to welcome Penny today. She has quite an extensive background. She has over 40 years of experience in the healthcare field, working at the bedside as an RN. She's been in nursing management. She served as a vice president in a multi-facility healthcare system. She's also taught in diploma and baccalaureate nursing programs. She's been a director of 2 hospital-based diploma nursing programs and part of a statewide task forces facilitating the diploma programs transition to a state-funded baccalaureate program in each state. She has served in nursing organization leadership positions on local, state, and national levels. Currently, she is certified as a Healing Touch practitioner and instructor, an Akashic record reader, and an instructor in love meditation. She's also a Reiki master, does shamanic work, spiritual counseling, and cranial sacral therapy. She offers many classes and seminars and retreats on a variety of metaphysical topics. And in addition to all of this, she is currently working on a PhD in metaphysical science. So she's been a very busy lady, and we are very happy to welcome you today, Penny.
Thank you. I'm really pleased to be here.
Good.
Pleased that I found you after moving to this new location for me.
Good, good. Well, you have such an extensive background, but for our purposes today, we really want to know more about the Healing Touch. So
Yes.
Can you tell us what is Healing Touch?
Healing Touch is one of the energy-based healing modalities that has come into popularity in the last 50, 60 years. Actually, it is a resurgence or a remembering of the kinds of hands-on healing that has been done for centuries, actually thousands of years. It was developed back in the 1970s and 80s by a woman by the name of Janet Menken. And she had learned something called therapeutic touch from Dolores Krieger. And what she did was, in knowing how that kind of therapy worked, she began having additional experiences herself and began adding additional modalities to it. And she then developed it into a curriculum that is built energetically. In other words, it's built according to the various layers in our energy system. Mm-hmm. And the Healing Touch, in order to become certified as a practitioner in Healing Touch, one needs to go through a series of 5 classes. Between the 4th and the 5th class, one has to take at least a year of apprenticeship, working under another Healing Touch practitioner, a certified practitioner. And there are multiple projects to do, books to read and write summaries on, as well as a fairly in-depth self-growth process that's part of it. When that is completed, you are then qualified to be called a practitioner. And then you must apply for certification and once again present your credentials to the certification board. So
it does take some time.
It takes
a
some
commitment.
time and commitment, and probably one of the most important aspects of it is that if we are going to be good at what we do as healers and being of service to others, then we ourselves have to be as clear and as healthy as we possibly can be. And that's, I guess I would say, as much a part of what I liked about the Healing Touch program as actually learning the material itself, is the intense focus on personal growth and healing as well as working on others.
Good, wonderful. And how did you initially get interested in this field?
Well, one of my favorite stories I like to tell is that I came into it kicking and screaming. You can tell from my background that I was raised, the very straight logic, science, just the facts, research. So I had a sister-in-law who had learned Reiki, and she kept raving about it. And I liked my sister-in-law, but I also thought she was kind of strange. So whenever she would talk about giving me a treatment, I would just be too busy, or something would be going on, so I couldn't have one from her. And then she invited me to a workshop. And I said, well, there aren't going to be any of those people there, are there? And she said, oh, no, this is just about learning to bring humor into your life. And I do tend to be a pretty serious person, and so I thought, well, that would be a good thing. All went well until the third morning. One of the ladies showed up, and she said, oh, I have such a bad headache. And another lady goes, well, would you like a treatment? And lady with the headache goes, yeah. And the other gal gets up behind her and starts waving her hands in the air around this woman's head. And I thought, I am out of here. They're being too weird. I can't take this. And so I did. I left the workshop. I mean, I was so spooked about it. But then a couple years later, I took some students, nursing students, out to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation to have an experience with a different kind of culture and a different way of life entirely. And while I was there, I sort of reminded myself that I had always enjoyed hearing about the shaman and the medicine men and so on and so forth. And so when a brochure about Healing Touch came across my desk the following year, I thought to myself, oh, this kind of sounds like what they did. And since it was being offered by the hospital, I figured it would be a safe thing to go to. And so that's what actually got me started. I went in with a attitude. Well, I just had a phenomenal experience, and it's been, much of the road has been difficult because as you learn to face yourself and release those things that aren't working for you anymore, you can go through some rough times, but it's been absolutely transformational. And the work itself is, to me, utterly amazing. I'm still awed by the powerfulness of it. Anyway.
So really, in that process, coming from your original background,
Right.
it really forces you to rethink your belief systems.
Yeah.
And involves some major paradigm shifts within yourself.
Absolutely. As one of my friends said, I have lots of stretch marks.
Okay, that's good. I'll remember that one. So describe to me then how Healing Touch works.
Okay. For those who may not be aware of the our energy bodies and some of the minor anatomy and physiology of it, I'd like to talk about that just briefly. Our bodies are vibrating electromagnetic energy fields. And many people have heard the word aura. And this is one person's depiction of what an aura might look like. And The aura is kind of an egg-shaped field around our body. This is, as I said, it's a vibrating energy field, so it's an open field. Energy is coming into us continually from the environment. Energy is leaving us continually from our auric field. Now, within that auric field are multiple layers. There are 4 primary levels. One would be the physical level, and that is a level which is generally seen about 3 inches out from the energy field, from the physical body itself. The next layer would be the emotional layer, which is out approximately 5 or 6 inches. Then is the mental layer, which is out a slight distance further. And then we have the spiritual level, which has multiple levels within it also. And one thing that I think is really very interesting to be aware of is that our auric fields generally are about arm's length out around us. So if we're sitting next to somebody or even across from somebody, our energy fields are overlapping. And so we are sharing a lot of information about one another, generally without us being aware of it. And one of the things to, I think, for anyone to be aware of is that our emotions are contagious, our thoughts can influence the energy field, foods that we take in, toxins that we may inhale or that may come around us from the environment, all of these things have an effect on our energy field. And if the toxic effect is persistent over a time, it can even damage the field. We also have what are called chakras, and these are our major energy wheels called vortexes. The chakra comes from the Sanskrit word, and it essentially means wheel of light. And there are 7 primary wheels, and as it shows in this picture, they change according to the colors of the rainbow. That's why in South America, we are called the rainbow people, which I think is very cool. Anyway, so having these open, spinning, and vibrant is absolutely essential to our well-being. Now, we have many more than these. We have actually thousands of chakras all
Those
over
are the
our
main
body,
ones.
but these are the primary ones. We have minor ones at the shoulders, the elbows, and the palms of the hands, and minor ones at the hips, the knees, and the bottom of the foot, right under the arch. So those are communicate at another level, another energy level, and also are significant for the health of the body. And if these become misshapen, or if something becomes embedded in them in some way, it again can have an adverse effect on how the body functions. And one thing that often isn't that obvious is that where those, if I can find my little picture of that, where those chakras vibrate, if you go along the spine, that is also where major nerve plexes emerge from the spinal column. And so the correspondence there is not surprising, given that you will have a higher level of electrical activity at that level. The magnetic field of the body, and as I said before, we are electromagnetic energy fields. Our bodies have positive and negative ions in them. So as the blood in our body flows up and down as part of the circulatory system, it actually creates an electrical current. Whenever you have an electrical current, you're going to have a magnetic field created. And that is what this shows. It shows the magnetic field around our bodies. And that is within the auric field. around the body. So as practitioners, we learn how to feel the body. Now, some people learn to feel it kinesthetically, and I happen to be kinesthetic, so when I talk about it, I usually talk about feeling it or like feeling your field. One of the things that I typically teach people, and if you want to try joining me with this, is how to feel your own system. So rubbing your hands together like this will make the palms of your hands more sensitive. Now let's put our palms out a little ways and then just very, very slowly and steadily bring them together and just pay attention to what you're feeling in the palms of your hand. It will be very, very subtle. You're kind of stopping there. What are you noticing?
My hands want to like turn like they're going around a ball.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And, okay, so kind of move your hands in and out like this. What do you experience at that point?
It's kind of a spongy feeling.
Kind of a spongy feeling, like there's resistance to it. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so you are feeling one of the layers within your auric field. People experience the feeling differently. Some may get prickles, some may feel heat. Some individuals don't notice as much coming in, but when they pull their hands apart, they have the feeling that they're wanting to stick together, like there's gum in between, and it's pulling in that way. So it can be felt in many different ways. And I would encourage anyone who watches this video to give it a try too and practice at home until you are able to notice something. Once we learn that, or what feeling an energy field is like to us, then we begin by assessing the physical body, and we do that by running our hands with like little data scanners all over the person's body, because that first layer is an exact replica of what is going on in the person's physical body. So what we're looking for then are imbalances. Does it feel the same on both sides of the body? And if it doesn't, what does that sensation feel like? Mm-hmm. We don't diagnose because that gets into the realm of medical. We do speak in terms of an energy imbalance, or noticing, for example, as an energy imbalance, I might say to somebody, I'm noticing some heat or something going on in this part of your body. Does that have any meaning for you? Mm-hmm. Most times it will. A person will say, well, yeah, I did such and so a long time ago, or yeah, I'm, have whatever it might be. At times, people will say no, that doesn't mean anything to them. And don't be discouraged or think that you have made a mistake in that, because it either means that the person has forgotten what it was about, they don't want to talk about it at that point in time, or it could be that something has not yet manifested itself in the physical body. So our purpose then is to smooth it out, bring the energy field back into balance. And in order to do that, there are two primary methods that we use. One is hands in motion. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, if I were noticing this heat area over somebody, I would feel out into the energy field, into the aura, as far as that warmth went. And then I would begin at the outside edge, and I would just smooth it off. Our energy very naturally flows down and out the body. So the idea is to smooth from the top down. And so you would bring that down until you weren't able to feel the warmth anymore. And then what would probably be done would be to, with the hands held still, send energy in to that spot. Now, sometimes we touch people actually on the physical body, and sometimes we work out completely in the field, away from the body. So very simplistically, that's what we do. There are different forms that the hands in motion or hands held still might take, such as an ultrasound. What happens then is we focus the energy down into a very narrow area, and we might use that to go back and forth. Say somebody has an arthritic joint or something like that, and so we would just go back and forth over it, which would break up deep inside the joint, whatever is happening there. And then after we do that, then of course we have to get it out of the body. So very basically, that's how it works.
Okay. Wonderful.
Oh, could I add just one
Sure.
more thing? Sure. I spoke of assessing the physical level. That would be with the level 1.
Right.
Healing touch, as you go to level 2, 3, and 4, those assessments expand to include all levels of the energy system. And then we learn how to work with the chakras of the body as well in doing that.
Wonderful. Sounds very exciting. So if someone were to make an appointment to come in for a healing touch treatment,
Yes.
what can they expect? How should they dress? What can they expect?
They should dress comfortably. It will not be necessary for them to get undressed except to take off their shoes. They'll generally be on a massage table, and soft music, the lights are dim. Put pillows under them until they feel comfortable, cover them with a light cover of some sort, and then they can just be quiet and relax while the treatment is done. That would include the assessment as well as the intervention and the post-assessment.
Okay.
Probably, as usual, when you go into a clinic of some sort, you've got little history forms to fill out and that kind of thing. And actually, in working with someone, I consider this to be a partnership. I am here to be of service of you. I am here to assist you in achieving optimal health. And in that, it's like a partnership. And so I see us working together. I will undoubtedly talk about not only what's going on energetically, but some other things that would be important for the person to consider in their life that might be of assistance for them. That could be in terms of dealing with some emotional issues, some ways that people are thinking, because, as I said, those all affect the energy system. Looking at possibly toxic environments that they're working in, or toxic relationships. That sort of thing may come up as part of our working together. But assignments are to be expected.
Okay.
Usually they're really fairly easy, like, drink more water and, do these stretching exercises or something of that sort. But
Okay. Wonderful.
so that would be
Well,
it.
I know that you're new but old to the area because you're from Oconomowoc originally. Is that
I'm-
correct?
Not Oconomowoc per se, but this area.
This
Yeah.
area, and
Yeah.
you've been away for many years.
Yes, for 45 years. I figured
Okay.
it up.
Okay.
Long time.
And you're back to this area. So if people want to know more about Healing Touch or make an appointment with you, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, in order to learn more about Healing Touch itself, there is the Healing Touch website, healingtouchinternational.com. and that would be www. For myself, they can call me personally, and that number is 920-390-2899. I also have offices at Traub Chiropractic Clinic in Oconomowoc, and I am associated with facilitated healing here in Watertown. So any of those locations could be called for an appointment.
Wonderful. Now, I know you said you give a lot of classes and seminars, and if I remember correctly, the Healing Touch seminar class has it is approved for example, nurses to take for continuing education. Is that
both
correct?
Nurses and massage therapists.
Okay.
And when I talk about nurses, I'm talking about both registered nurses and licensed practical nurses, and the whole umbrella of nursing. And then it's also approved for massage therapists. For 18 continuing education hours.
Wow. And so a seminar, is it a one-day seminar?
It's a two-day seminar. The next one that I have coming up is the end of this month. It's the 28th and 29th
of
April
2012.
And that's listed on the Healing Touch International website, or they could call me at my home number for more information if anyone's interested.
Wonderful. Well, I find it very interesting. I have experienced many, many different complementary and alternative types of treatments myself. I have not experienced Healing Touch, however, so I'm very excited to give it a try, and looking forward to working more with you.
Wonderful.
So again, thank you, Penny, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And we hope that you will join us for our next segment of Empowering You.